Hello, Carterville. My name is Keith Bell, and I'm the Creative Arts Minister here at the church. You probably don't see me much. I'm usually upstairs running sound and taking care of the technical needs of a Sunday morning. So if you had no idea of who I was, hopefully now you can say, you know what I look like. So here we go. We are on day number 7 of the B90X Bible reading plan. Today's scripture is Exodus 29, 1 through 40:38. I would like to share with you just a few thoughts this morning about this text. As you have read through the early chapters of Exodus, you have seen Moses and the Hebrews escaped Egypt through the Red Sea. Then they traveled through the desert and arrived at Mount Sinai, God's holy mountain. There they received the 10 Commandments, as well as lots and lots of instructions for building the tabernacle as a center of worship. Today's reading in chapter 29 finishes these instructions from God to Moses, how the tabernacle is to be finished, and also what the priests are supposed to wear and do. At the end of chapter 29, Aaron and his sons are commanded to be the first ordained priests of the tabernacle. Now, chapter 32 is where things start to get interesting. In fact, this chapter is where I want you to focus your attention to. Moses is still up on Mount Sinai talking with God, and Aaron, being in charge while Moses is gone, begins hearing some complaining from the people. They actually ask Aaron to construct them a god. They needed a god with a face on it, something they could see with their own eyes. They had given up all hope of Moses' coming back and the true God being with them. The text really doesn't even say that Aaron put up a fight about doing it either. Maybe he was thinking the same thing as the people were. Well, as all this was happening down at the foot of the mountain, God sees this and tells Moses. Verses 7 through 9 say, "Then the Lord said to Moses, 'Go down, because your people whom you brought out of Egypt have become corrupt. They have been quick to turn away from what I commanded them, and have made themselves an idol cast in the shape of a calf. They have bowed down to it and sacrificed to it, and have said, These are your gods, O Israel, who brought you up out of Egypt.'" How tragic this is. I'm not aware of actually how long Moses was up on the mountain, but I just can't think it had to be so long as for all the people of Israel to completely give up hope. They just gave up. They needed to worship a physical God rather than the God who just brought them out of slavery in Egypt. God held off destroying all the people because Moses pleaded with him not to. And as you finish reading chapter 32, you will see how God decided to deal with the people. Through all of this, we learn one major detail about our relationship with God: obedience. His laws expose sin, and they give standards for righteous living. Even if we do not make idols, we are guilty of trying to make God in our image, molding him to fit our expectations, desires, and circumstances. When we do this, we end up worshiping ourselves rather than God. What is your favorite image of God? Is it biblical? Think about how you need to adjust your view of what God really is in your life today. Enjoy the rest of your reading today as you finish the book of Exodus.